On this episode of China Uncensored, it's a baby. Or possibly a super baby. Or really, no one knows. Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. In our top story, a Chinese scientist may have created the world's first genetically engineered babies.
A Chinese researcher claims to have helped make the world's first gene-edited babies. Twin girls whose DNA he says he altered, with a powerful new tool that lets scientists edit the genetic code.
I feel a strong responsibility that it's not just to make it first, but also make it as example.
Well, China is great at using people to make an example. He Jiankui says he edited the DNA of the twin girls to make them immune to HIV.
He says he edited embryos for 7 couples during IVF fertility treatment. So far, there's been 1 pregnancy. The gene editing was done using a tool called CRISPR-Cas9. It works by making a cut in the DNA to disable a specific gene.
Now, his claim has not been independently verified, so we don't know for a fact Dr. He did what he says he did. But even so, it's created a huge controversy. Gene editing is banned in many countries. Guess what? Not in China. The reasons most countries ban it are, 1, this is a totally new frontier, so no one knows if other genes might be accidentally affected. And 2, if the girls survive to adulthood and have kids of their own, it will have changed the human gene pool, affecting future generations. But China's authorities have always been a little less strict about the rules. At least about safety rules. Political rules are very strict. But the Chinese Communist Party has managed to draw scientists from around the world with promises of big state-backed dollars and none of those pesky ethical restrictions. Which is how you have scientists in China experimenting with things like head transplants. It's a no-brainer, really. But in this case of editing the genes of human embryos, the international backlash has been intense. More than 100 scientists said in an open letter the use of CRISPR-Cas9 technology to edit the genes of human embryos was risky, unjustified, and harmed the reputation and development of the biomedical community in China. The backlash has been so intense that even official Chinese state agencies are getting involved. China's National Health Commission late on Monday ordered officials to seriously investigate and verify He's claims. Shenzhen's Health and Family Planning Commission said it was investigating the ethics committee and review process of He's work. Also, we don't even know for sure if the girls are immune to HIV. This is what happens when science is conducted in a black box. No one knows what's real. Even the school where He worked, Southern University of Science and Technology, is trying to create some distance from him. This research work was carried out by Professor He Jiankui outside of the school said, calling it a serious violation of academic ethics and norms. But when has unconstrained scientific experimentation ever led to anything bad happening? Though, what the Chinese Communist Party giveth, it can also taketh away. So what do you think about the possibility that China is genetically engineering human babies? Leave your comments below. And before you go, now is the time when I answer a question from a fan who supports China Uncensored with $1 or more on the crowdfunding website Patreon. Joseph Bergeron asks, why doesn't the PRC put pressure on Mongolia to reunify with China, as historically both Taiwan and Mongolia and other lands were a part of the Qing dynasty's unified territory? Is it because they aren't culturally Chinese, because they want a buffer state with Russia, or some other reason? Interesting question. It has to do with the Soviet Union. Near the tail end of World War II in 1945, at what was called the Yalta Conference, the U.S. wanted the Soviet Union to join the war against the Japanese. One of the conditions was that the area we now know as Outer Mongolia would be independent. Well, not so much independent as a Soviet satellite state. Now remember, at the time, China was ruled by the Republic of China government, which was also a U.S. ally. And since they were too weak at the time to challenge the Soviets, they agreed to it if the Soviet Union agreed not to support the communists inside China. A few years later, the communists took over China anyway and formed the People's Republic of China. They weren't able to challenge the Soviets either. As late as 1989, then Chinese leader Deng Xiaoping was still complaining to the Americans that Stalin had severed Mongolia from China. And when the Soviet Union fell, Outer Mongolia truly became independent. But maybe someday the Chinese Communist Party will try to give Mongolia a taste of some of that win-win cooperation. Thanks for your question, Joseph. And remember, if you want to have your question answered on the show, sign up to support China Uncensored on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/China Uncensored to learn more. We'll give you some cool perks as well. Once again, I'm your host, Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching China Uncensored.